Hello, and I'd like to welcome you all and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Sabrina Snyder, the Executive Director here at the Ridgewood Y, and I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. So, for the past several years, the Y has been promoting civic participation as a way that people can help strengthen their communities. And this year, for the 2021 elections, we have a tremendous impact. We will have a tremendous impact on the future of New York City, and the Y is committed to helping prepare our communities to take part. So, trustworthy, nonpartisan information is essential to helping New Yorkers exercise our right to vote. In recent years, the primary elections have played a huge role in determining who gets into office here in New York City. New York is now using ranked choice voting for many of our city races in primary and special elections. This year, the primaries will take place on June 22nd. There's early voting starting between June 12th and June 20th, and we want voters to be informed and to be ready. So, to tell us about ranked choice voting, we have Erica Fu from Rank the Vote NYC. This organization was founded in 2019 to bring ranked choice voting to New York City, and the organization now focuses on educating voters, candidates, and community groups on the changes to our local elections in 2021. Rank the Vote NYC is currently partnering with the Y to lead 5 webinars in 3 different languages on ranked choice voting. So, Erica, thank you so much for being here. Um, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. So we encourage people to use the Q&A function to submit questions as they come up as you listen to Erica's presentation. So, Erica, you can take it away.
Hey, thank you. Let me share my screen and we can get started. Okay, awesome. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining tonight's Ranked Choice Voting Training. I'm Erica Fu. I am one of the education organizers for Rank the Vote NYC, and I'm based in Queens. I'm really excited to talk to you all about the new voting system in New York. I am going to drop a link down in the chat. Um, Wait 1 second. Okay, yeah. So I dropped the link in the chat. It is a mock election since this month is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We are going to be ranking our favorite Asian noodle dish. You don't have to put your real name or your real email. This is just a sample election that we will be using to practice how to use ranked choice voting, and I will go through the results during the presentation. Okay, so let's get started. Here is a quick recap on the upcoming changes to our local elections. So this is a timeline of how we got to ranked choice voting. I'm going to briefly summarize. So in 2009, there was a very expensive and low turnout runoff election, which prompted a debate over the use of runoff elections. And Gail Brewer, who was the city council member at the time, she introduced the first ranked choice voting bill. After many hearings and studies, the Charter Revision Commission voted 14 to 1 to place ranked choice voting on the 2019 ballot. And if you may remember, we voted on this 2 years ago. It was question 1, and it was whether we should implement ranked choice voting. And that amendment was passed by the voters with over 75% of the vote. And that's how we got here. And now we will be using ranked choice voting for the first time this year. So, why are we even changing our voting system? So, New York City has a very robust campaign finance system, and many of the elected offices have term limits. And this leads to a wealth of diverse candidates. And we see a lot of multi candidate races, especially this year. We have a lot of people running for mayor. We have many candidates running for city council. You may see in your city council district that there are either more than 5 people running or more than 10 people running. And there's also several candidates running in the borough president's office in Queens. And this is a good thing. We want to see more diverse candidates run for office. However, the issue is that previously our old voting system was based on a plurality, which means a candidate only needs to win the most votes, not a majority of the votes. So this oftentimes leads to vote splitting, and a candidate can win with as little as 20% of the vote, which is not healthy for our democracy. And additionally, this plurality system oftentimes leads to expensive runoff elections, which are costly and it uses taxpayer money. So, what is changing? So, starting this year, all local primary and special elections for city council, borough president, public advocate, comptroller, and mayor will be using ranked choice voting. So there are two very important points to remember. It is only these 5 offices that will be using ranked choice voting. So only the local city offices. We won't be using ranked choice voting to vote for president, senate, Congress, the state offices, and a district attorney. Only the local city offices. The other important point is that ranked choice voting will only be used in primaries and special elections. So you won't be seeing ranked choice voting for the November general election. So what is changing is that instead of choosing just one candidate, we now have the option to rank up to 5. And by using ranked choice voting, it eliminates the plurality system that I mentioned before, because now in order for a candidate to win, that person needs to win a majority of the vote. So this eliminates runoff elections, and it actually saves us taxpayer money. So here are just some very important election dates to take note of. I will also put this in the chat. But just to reiterate, the election is Tuesday, June 22nd. If you have not registered to vote yet, the deadline is coming up soon, May 28th. If you moved and you need to change your address, you need to do that by June 2nd. And we will have early voting this year, June 12th to June 20th. Okay, so what is ranked choice voting? It is exactly what it sounds like. Voters rank candidates in order of their choice. So your first choice is the candidate you love. It's the person who aligns with your values and you want to see that person in office. You probably donated, volunteered, you're going to do GOTV for this candidate, and you have this candidate's campaign swag. Your second choice is your backup. If your first choice candidate doesn't win or has to drop out of the race tomorrow, your second choice is your backup candidate. Fortunately, we also have 3, 4, and 5, so we have even more options to rank our candidates and to have backups. Okay, so now I'm going to play a video that explains more on how ranked choice voting works.
Hi, I'm Mahir, and welcome to my bodega. As you may know, New York City has a new way to vote in special and primary elections. So, how does ranked choice voting work? The next time you vote in a city election, instead of choosing just one candidate, you can rank them all from your first choice to your 5th. Here's how it works. Let's say my bodega is picking its featured snack of the month. So many choices. Which one should I feature? This customer ranks Parker Pretzels as her top favorite. She also ranks her second choice, Mr. Chips, third choice, Chi-Chi Chicharrones, fourth choice, Gladys Gummies, and fifth choice, Poppy Popcorn. Other customers rank their choices as well. If Parker Pretzels is the favorite choice and wins more than 50% of all the first-ranked choices, then Parker Pretzels is the winner and is featured as the snack of the month. However, if no snack gets more than 50%, then the least popular snack is eliminated. Sorry, Figgy Bars. The remaining second-ranked choices from customers who chose Figgy Bars are redistributed. So if customers chose chips and chicharrones as second choices, then those 2 snacks receive additional votes. The new totals are counted and the process repeats until there's a winner of the final 2. Congrats, Poppy Popcorn, you're the bodega snack favorite. Back in the real world, before it's time to vote for humans, visit rankthevotenyc.org for more information. Thank you, New York City, for voting and for making these special and primary elections your elections.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so this is what your ballot will most likely look like. I'm actually going to send you guys a link in the chat. You can actually view a PDF of your sample ballot online using the poll site locator. And you can also request an absentee ballot, and that website will also track your absentee ballot. So I can show you a sample of what my ballot looks like. I live in Queens. So this is what your ballot will look like. Again, it is only the local city offices that will be using ranked choice voting. So you see mayor and all of the candidates listed down here. We have a lot of candidates, and then the ranks where you can put in your rankings. Public advocate, comptroller, go down here, borough president, and city council. So you see those 5 offices have ranked choice voting, and this is what it will look like. And over here you have the judges. The judges are not ranked choice voting. So the one thing I want to emphasize is that there are so many candidates running this year, so your ballot will be multiple pages. As you see, there are 4 pages. So be sure to check both sides of your ballot. That way you don't miss anything and you vote for each office. Okay. So for this slide, let's look at the mock election results that I sent in the beginning. Okay, so we see that in this election, there are 10 candidates running, and in order for a candidate to win, you need to win a majority of the votes. So you need 313 votes to be the winner. So let's look at the results. Round 1 is essentially election night. So we see on election night, no candidate has won a majority of the votes. So we need to do the process of elimination and counting of the rounds. So how that works is the candidate with the least amount of votes, beef noodle soup, this candidate will be eliminated. And the 23 voters who voted for beef noodle soup, we will look at their second choice rankings, and those ballots will be transferred over to the second round. So we see that those ballots have been transferred over, and some of the candidates have accumulated some of those votes. But again, no candidate has won a majority, so we're going to keep on doing this process until eventually a candidate wins a majority, and we see that Japanese ramen is the winner. Okay, and one thing I want to point out here is the bottom right-hand corner. You see 44 exhausted votes. So what that means is that there are only 44 voters in this election that didn't use all 5 rankings. Okay. So maybe just to further explain, so maybe that means those 44 voters only ranked 4 people, 3 people, or just 1 candidate. They didn't use all 5. Okay. So just to recap, if no candidate wins over 50% of the vote on election day, then we will do the process of elimination and the counting of the rounds like I just shown for the mock election. However, if a candidate does win 50% on election day, then we're not going to do this whole process. That candidate will be declared the winner. So because of a New York State law, absentee and affidavit ballots don't get counted until a few days after the election. And because we're still living in a pandemic, we expect a higher than usual number of mail-in ballots. So once all of the mail-in ballots are counted, then the rounds of elimination can begin and the official winner will be declared. So we're going to have to be a little bit patient because it'll probably take a few weeks for the Board of Elections to count all of the mail-in ballots and then for the rounds of elimination to begin. So an official winner won't be declared until a few weeks after Election Day. And we've seen this last year for the presidential. We had to wait a few weeks after election night in order for an official winner to be declared. But one thing I do want to emphasize is that ranked choice voting itself does not speed up or slow down the election results because the rounds of elimination will simply be generated by a touch of a keyboard. The only thing that takes a while is counting all of the mail-in ballots. And with each round-by-round vote totals for ranked choice voting, the Board of Elections will release the vote totals to the general public for transparency. Okay, so why should voters use rankings? So with ranked choice voting, voters have more choices and more power because now we have the option to rank up to 5 candidates. So even if your favorite candidate doesn't win, you still have a say in who is elected. Another reason why we should use rankings is that we can vote our conscience without worrying we're wasting our vote or voting for someone we don't necessarily support. And lastly, ranking a second, third, fourth, or fifth choice will never hurt your favorite candidate because they are your backups. They only come into play if your first choice candidate is eliminated, and so on and so forth. So we will only look at your third choice if your first and your second candidates are eliminated. Okay, so let's go through some frequently asked questions. How many candidates do I rank? You can rank up to 5, as many or as few as you like. Do I have to use all 5 rankings? This is very similar to the previous question, but no, you don't have to use all 5 rankings. You can rank 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's completely up to you. If you only have just one candidate you really like in the race, then rank that one person. You still have that option. Never vote for someone you hate. Never vote for someone you don't want to see in office. But the advantage with ranked choice voting is that you still have a say in who is elected. So if you only rank one person and your first choice is eliminated, then your ballot will be exhausted. It won't be able to transfer your vote to another candidate. So it's to your advantage to have rankings. Okay. Can I rank a candidate more than once? Yes, you can, but it doesn't help your favorite candidate at all. So while ranking a candidate more than once may seem like a bigger statement of support, it is actually the same as ranking them once in the first choice column, and the ballot machine will read it as that. And I can show you an example. So if you go to our website, at the bottom here we have a sample ballot where you can test the different scenarios, and it will actually explain to you what your ballot means. So let's say I really want Mr. Chips to be the next New York City mayor. I'm going to rank him all 5 times. And I go down here, test this ballot. So the ballot machine reads it as ranking Mr. Chips once in the first choice ranking. And the explanation is, this ballot has a duplicate ranking. Only the highest ranking will be counted, and all the lower rankings will be ignored. So it does not help your favorite candidate if you rank them more than once, because ranked choice voting is not 5 votes. It is still 1 vote. So the only difference is that now your vote can transfer to your ranked candidates if your favorite candidate is eliminated. Okay. So does it hurt my favorite candidate to have a second choice? No. Your second, third, fourth, or fifth choice will only come into play if your favorite candidate is eliminated. So again, all of these other choices are just backups, and they don't influence or hurt your favorite candidate at all. Okay. So does anyone have any questions here or anything that you would like me to clarify?
Erica, so we do have a question. What can I do if I make an error ranking on my absentee ballot?
Yeah, so if you make an error on your absentee, you would have to know that you made a mistake, and you would have to call the BOE and request for a new one. Unless you forgot to sign or date your absentee ballot, then the BOE will notify you. But other than that, if you make a mistake, the BOE won't be able to notify you. You would have to know. Um, so so yeah, if you're comfortable with voting in person, you can, but just to let you know, if you do vote absentee and you make a mistake, you would have to know and notify the BOE, because the BOE will not notify you. Only if it's a signature issue or a sign and date issue. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, awesome. So here is just a recap of ranked choice voting and the important points to remember. This is usually the pitch that I give to my family and friends, or when I talk to people in the community. So starting this year, we now have the option to rank up to 5 candidates in our local primary and special elections for mayor, comptroller, public advocate, borough president, and city council. But if you still want to vote for just one candidate, you still can. But the advantage of using rankings is that voters now don't need to worry about wasting their vote, accidentally help elect someone we don't necessarily support, vote splitting, and someone being elected with less than a majority. Okay. Yeah, so now you guys can have this pitch and these important points to remember, and now you are trusted messengers to tell your family and friends and your community about ranked choice voting so that everyone is confident and informed to use this new system, whether it's um, voting through absentee or at the polls starting June 12th for early voting. But the, yeah.
Sorry, Eric, I didn't mean to interrupt. We do have two additional questions. So one question is, how do I vote for a write-in candidate?
Yeah, let me. Okay, so this is an example. Um, okay, so you see, like for mayor, you have the 5 rankings. So let's say you don't like any of these candidates, so you can put in write in at the bottom right here as your first, and then you put in, and then you write in the candidate that you want. Or it could be, you like some of the candidates, but you want to rank your write-in candidate as 5, but that's just an example. The write-in is always at the bottom, and you could bubble in which ranking you want your write-in to be.
And another question came up, will the voting machine tell me if I made a mistake on my ballot?
Yeah. So the ballot machine will let you know if you make a mistake. Um, so and you will have 3 tries to do it. So you have, yeah, so they will give you a new ballot if that happens. Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions, here is our contact information. I'll also put this in the chat. You Our website has a lot of translated materials, and also this presentation is on our website for your reference. And if you need another training, or if you know someone that wants another training, definitely reach out to us and we can get that set up, because we want to make sure that the word is spread until everyone is educated about this new system.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Erica, for all of the information you shared this evening. And thank you to everyone who has joined us for your interest in ranked choice voting. We hope we can count on everyone to make a voting plan for June to help spread the word to others about ranked choice voting and the importance of the primaries that are on June 22nd. So for more information on ranked choice voting, you can definitely visit the websites and the information Erica shared in the chat, and other voting resources. And to see a recording of this webinar, you can also visit ymcanyc.org/events/voting. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Erica, and hope everyone have a great evening.
Thank you.